Hey friends, welcome to Gardening with Creekside. Today, Jerry and I are going to kind of walk through and explain how we are designing the new terrace garden. Here we are at the end of August and we are getting underway. The rains have stopped. It is nice and dry. The whole pad is dry. So we are going to kind of go over with you how we are going to be designing this terrace garden and hopefully get started here making some good progress. Trenches today. So that is the idea. So we're going to recap real quick for those of you that are not familiar with this project. We are standing right off of our driveway, and this is the area where we have had the cottage garden. Then we had garden boxes. We could call it Hydrangea Hill, and then of course the chicken coop is up there at the top. We're completely redesigning this whole entire area, and we are now going to call it the Terraced Gardens. And because up here we are going to be installing completely new like hardscape steps, and then up here will be the main star of the show with a lovely kind of a patio area with permeable pavers on the bottom, and you will see that we have some string up. And so yesterday morning, Jerry and I got up here and we're laying some string. The two stakes that you will see in front of us, we're going to have to add one more step because we need to get one more step up here. So this is going to be the back side of the step.
Back side of the wall and step with step.
The back side of the wall and the step. So along the lines of where this front line right here, we're going to have a small retaining wall that runs the back side of the cottage garden, and that'll probably be, I don't know, a couple of courses tall.
I think it's like three
courses tall, and then
just to give it some height, and then we'll have a cap on it.
Yep.
Then the caps, we're going to have lighting, probably.
Yes.
Maybe on that you could do both sides. I don't know.
Yeah, that would be fun.
Yeah.
And then right up, butted up to the edge of the wall will be the permeable pavers, right?
Right. So, yeah, we had this spot because it was just all sloping, and the whole idea from the beginning was to terrace it to try to stop this whole thing from washing away.
Right, because where the chicken coop is right now, that is the natural elevation. So if you can kind of see, I mean, that's a good, oh my gosh, I don't know, 10, 12, 15 feet
up there
higher in elevation. And so the natural slope of the land, you go from the chicken coop, which is its natural elevation, and then all the way down to the house and the garage pad. And so that is quite a nice steep slope. So we've already gone in here. Remember we had a crepe myrtle that was right here. We took out the crepe myrtle and cut into the bank. Right now, the back retaining wall where we have this line, this is the front of the wall, is that right?
That's the front, yes.
Yes, so this is the front of the wall, and you can see that we have, this line is straight. So this line is perpendicular to the other wall, which is then perpendicular to the garage pad. So it's all even with one another, but of course the garden itself is on an angle. But we're going to keep this wall straight here. Yes.
Yeah, we were trying to the whole design of this is try to keep a rectangular space since we have rectangle garden boxes.
Yep.
You know, but you know, to go all the way back meant that far corner had to come all the way out up to the hydrangea.
Yeah, so we had a mark up there.
We didn't want to do that.
So that's, yeah, that was just too much and too far.
Yeah. So yes, that's what you and I were messing with yesterday. It was just trying to determine how far we could come in to make it straight. Mm-hmm. So we're just going to have to, you know, maybe just dig back a little bit here.
Yep.
When we're making the trench or the footer area for all the stone.
Yes.
So this will be the first one we do, so that way we can get this all backfilled and taken care of, the drainage, start to work on our drainage on the way out and all that jazz.
Right.
And then work on this guy. So if we can get this dug out, maybe, and get it cleaned up, get it full of gravel, then we could just put gravel down in here and get us out of the mud, you know, before it were to rain again.
Because people have asked us before and they're like, man, that really is red clay. Yeah, y'all, we're not joking when we say we have red clay. This is our natural soil here, and
yeah, the pavers are not going anywhere, the wall's not going anywhere. It's really hard. You know, you can see like on that bank,
you mean like sinking in?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no.
Because clay is really good for foundation.
Yeah. So yeah, the clay is a great foundation, and so what Jerry was saying is here you can see exactly the teeth of the excavator where he was digging out. So no, we don't have to worry about, we don't have sandy soil that, you know, the pavers have to be, you know, we don't have to support them at all. The clay does all the work. Now, here on the edge, we do have some of the Edge of Night hibiscus. We are going to go ahead and take those out, but we're going to save them. So we're going to put them in some larger pots. We will save them. The idea is that I want to go ahead, well, when the project, this part of the project is done, and plant them in this vicinity. Now, those of you that have been following along, you will notice that something is missing here. Jerry and I think Jackson were working together yesterday and took out the loropetalum. There was a massive loropetalum, just to give you a little bit of reference. Here's one of them right here.
Yep.
And it was in this spot, and it was massive. It was actually growing into the green giant, which you can see we've got some dead in there. That's because the loropetalum was growing up in there, and so we'll go in there and get kind of that cleaned up a little bit. It is a bit of a design problem, but I would rather have that loropetalum gone. Possibly that tree will fill in somewhat. I don't have high hopes that it's going to fill in completely. So we're going to do some sort of landscaping design so that it doesn't look so odd.
Yeah, depending on what we do here, is this what you and I were talking about, is that we just take this wall and just run it straight all the way through and run it right into this bank here. So that way all this is here holding this back.
Yep.
You know, and then so it's just like, I don't know. So then I give you lots of room to plant, you know, plants and whatnot all through there.
Yes, very exciting. So that'll be something, that's where we're going to use the landscaping to help figure this out and make it a really beautiful area, because we're not going to have so much room down here on this end. Okay, so now let's talk about this end, shall we? And we keep going back and forth of where we're going to put steps to go up to the chicken coop, because that is something that I desperately need, because as of right now, what I've been doing for the last year is cutting across the grass, walking the grass, and then going up into the bank, which is, you know, it's not horrible, but this, I mean, believe it or not, this is pretty steep right here. And even in the winter, the little bit of, like, if it's wet or if we happen to get any kind of like ice or anything, that's really hard to navigate because it's very, very steep. So we're going to put some kind of steps up into this area.
Yeah. So we're thinking maybe using some bigger, just regular stone, like, you know, rock or something like that.
Yes.
And we were talking about maybe coming out from here, you know, maybe make the little, looks like a little exit point from the patio to here, and then place, you know, like you could just place one right there and step up, you know, keep stepping.
So it's yeah. So that's one that's not quite figured out totally
Not quite
yet.
I do think that this wall, kind of where those white lines are, will come through there and then come out this way, holding this bank back, you know, so yeah.
Yeah. So we do know that the roses of Sharon, I've got 4 roses of Sharon. I think this is the Parpaloo Pink Ink. I believe this is what this is. So we've got 4 of these guys that are going to come out. I would like to leave my little Hinoki if I can. Bless it, I have babied that thing.
So.
I think we can leave it.
Yeah,
and then really, these are 2 yucky lavenders.
Because this is going to be like real, I mean, you just kind of make little shelves for the stone to lay on. We're not going to have to, you know, if you were running steps and having walls, that would be a lot more
Right. This is going to be much more natural looking. This is
Yeah.
not going to be heavily retaining
So it's
wall.
a little bit of a, you know, a design change to soften, and we like, it's harder to do over here than it is over there, but I think, you know, when you come in, this will be a little bit of a nicer look for the
Especially
space.
if you put some landscape lighting to highlight the steps.
Yeah.
Even, you know.
Little pathway lights
Yeah,
or
little
something.
pathway lights. Yep,
Yeah.
exactly. So that kind of illuminates that because, of course, you can't, it's kind of hard to see right now. We've got some clearing out to do right here, but then coming up here, then that's when you then enter into the chicken coop area and the woodland garden that we're, you know, creating and extending out through here. We've got some little trees, like an oak, this little oak volunteer needs to come out. So that way all of these gardens up here will then flow in to the garden down here. But this is, right now we have it as 17 feet between the two walls.
Yeah, I mean 17 feet. Yeah.
Yeah. So basically right now we've got 17 feet between these two walls. We have got 5 of the Vago modern garden boxes. They sent us 5 of them. Very kind and generous of them. So they're 42 inches wide, 83 inches long. And I want to, they're the taller ones because I say like 37 inches. I'll put a picture up of them. And so we got them in the midnight blue. So it's a really deep, dark, like navy blue. And then against the gray stone that we're going to be using is super exciting. So we've got 5 of those boxes that are going to go in here. Of course, the hardscaping, and then yeah, a lot of fun other things. So I think what we're going to do now is to maybe start digging the trench.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, if we can get this one dug, you know.
Because basically what we have to do, correct me if I'm wrong, and we're going to stand here in the shade because it is quite warm today. So this is the line where that back retaining wall is going to be. So Jerry has the excavator, and that is a 2-foot bucket on there. And so he's going to dig a trench in on this line that's 2 feet wide.
Yeah, we're going to spray it first with the white,
yeah,
you know, and then take the lines up.
Sure.
And we're just going to make big trenches, and then we'll just have to reformulate everything back.
Sure.
That's why we need to wait on this one over here, because that gives us a hard line to come back off to find our measurement. So, and that's why we're using the 2-foot wide, just to give us plenty of room. Our block's like 10 inches wide. So we have plenty of room to adjust, and we won't have to hopefully redig too much.
Right.
You know.
Because then once the trench is dug and we have the lines put back up and we know where everything is, then that's when you come back through with the washed stone, that we have a lovely pile of washed stone just waiting on us right there in the driveway. Put that in the trench, tamp it down, make sure it's all nice and level, and then that's when the wall can start being built, right? The first course?
Yep.
Yep. All right, so we shall see exactly what we get done today. We'll get started on doing some work, and then we'll check back in here in a little bit and kind of give you an update on where we are, what things got done, and then where we're going to go from there. My friends, we are making some progress. We have got the trench pretty much dug out. Jackson is coming back in because on this one corner Jerry wasn't able to dig it out very much as well as it should be. So it was a little high, so Jackson is coming back in and doing a little fine tuning right there. And so as Jerry dug the trench, had to come in, of course, and kind of clean it up. And let me get down here in the trench with him so you can see that that grade goes up. So we need to get it a little bit more level right here, because obviously you want the wall to be a nice level wall, so we can get the soil out as much as we can and get that nice and relatively level. So that's what we're going to do, and that's what Jackson is working on right now. As Jerry was digging, Jackson was moving it with the bobcat, put it into the dump truck, hauled it away, and then what we did is started to make a little pile right here, because we will use this pile of soil to backfill once we're ready for that. So might as well not take it away. So straight line wall all the way across the back, and then the wall will turn at 90 degrees on both ends and then come forward to a certain point. So Jackson is just finishing up getting that out. We're gonna get it as, quote, level as we think it needs to be, and then what we're gonna do is really come back through to really and truly make it truly level is with the gravel. So as soon as Jackson gets finished working on this and they get the trench kind of cleaned up, they're gonna go ahead and come back in with just a nice kind of a fine layer of gravel. And I mean, when I say fine, a couple of inches of gravel. Then we'll put the transit on it, right? The leveler, the laser level. And then at that point, we will level with the gravel, get the tamp it all down, and then we're using, like I said, the gravel. It's much easier to use the gravel to make it nice and level as opposed to the red clay. So as you can see, you know, that's the thing about our red clay. It comes up in big old clods. That's why we love using the power planter augers when we're actually planting plants, because it practically, I mean, it does. It just aerates the soil so much, as opposed to getting, this is just soil. These are not rocks, y'all. This is just clods of dirt. And when you use a big bucket or a shovel, that's what happens. So that's why we love using the augers, because it just completely breaks up any of those chunks. So working on that, get it cleaned up, and then we'll get some gravel in here. I think if we can just get it cleaned up, the ditches cleaned up, trenches cleaned up, get some gravel in here, and then we'll kind of call it a day for today, because it's about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and this is, we're all glistening right here. Then we can come back in the morning when it's much cooler and it's in the shade, and then go from there. But yeah, so just keep on working. We did have to end up taking out the very last hibiscus that was way down here on the end, and so Jackson just kind of popped it out with the excavator, and we stuck it in a tub, and then I'll pot it up tomorrow. But all of these are going to end up coming out. It's just hot right now, and I just don't want to have to deal with those, so we'll deal with that's tomorrow's problems, not today's problems. My friends, it is the next morning. We decided to go ahead and call it a day yesterday. It was about 4:30 in the afternoon, and it was quite toasty right here. So we said, you know, we'll just revamp tomorrow morning and reconvene. So that is what we are doing. So what I'm gonna do is just kind of show you, just kind of wrap up today's video, show you what we got done yesterday, and then tell you what the next steps are. As you can see behind me, we got the gravel in. Jackson came in with the small bobcat and was able to go ahead and get gravel into the trench. Now, obviously the trench is a nice big size, right? We want plenty of room to work. And we went ahead and got the gravel in, and then went ahead and strung the line back up. The line is what the front side of the wall will be. So the wall will be, if you can see this yellow line, that block will butt up right against that yellow line. So the block will actually be right here and go back. Clearly this corner needs to be dug out a little bit more because the block is, I think, 10 inches deep, and this has been kind of the quote problematic corner because this is the highest elevation, and this is, gosh, every bit of 3.5 feet right here. So they're gonna have to come back in and just chisel out an area right here. Excuse me. So the wall will come, and then it will take a 90-degree turn, and then it will come this way. We will see how far it needs to come out. It really is just going to depend on how everything looks. So if it needs to come out further, that's not a problem. Of course, we can go ahead and dig this out and then have it come out a little bit further. So behind, whenever you do these kinds of retaining walls, we will have all the infrastructure put in there. There'll be a drain in there. It will be backfilled. It will have gravel and all the things. So that way that you have the correct support system and everything behind this wall. It is nice early in the morning, and Andrew has started on the first little corner. So he's grabbing block. Just to remind you what we are using. We're using all of the Bellegarde products. The wall is the Castle Manor wall in Oxford. So Oxford is the color, which is a nice, just a lovely kind of a gray color. And this is a 3-piece system. So you have 3 different sizes. Basically you have large, small, medium. And so that way you can create whatever design you want. So it's not all of the exact same size. And for me, it looks a little too commercial when it's all the same size. So I like the way that this looks. This is the same block that we have on the back patio, just a different color. And so you will notice that on one side of the block, you have these ridges, and then on the flip side, you have the 3 holes. So there are fiberglass pins that this would be side down, this is side up. And so you put the pegs in here, you kind of hammer them in with a mallet so they stick up. And then when you place the next block on top, then the pins will fit in the ridge. So if you needed to offset it, you can. And so it sticks in there. And then of course we glue it as well. So that is the system. And then Andrew is working right there on the corner. And the first layer is always, of course, the most critical because once you get the first layer down and it's perfectly level and it's perfectly straight, then the rest of the wall just flies up, because this is so easy to go ahead and stack these and get these going. But the first layer, that is the tedious one, because it literally has to be perfect. Because if there's any imperfection on the base layer, then as you work your way up, then that imperfection just gets bigger and shows more. So we will see how far they get today. I think Jackson's going to come and help once Andrew kind of gets the first layer down, because really this is a one-man job. You can really only have one person getting that first layer in and getting it nice and level. And then once they go from there, then Jackson will come and they can hopefully get this up relatively quickly. So once that part is done, then probably then go ahead and start working on the next wall, right? So that will be this wall, and then also where the steps are. So with this wall, the yellow line is, it's a little confusing, but the yellow line is going to be the back side of the wall. So the wall is actually going to come this way, because the reason that we did that is we know exactly where the step is going to be. So we know that the wall has to come here up to that step, right? And then that wall from there then will go down the side of the step that way, and there'll be a wall going down the side of that step. So that's kind of, we'll deal with that. We'll deal with that when that comes along. But we do know too that we're probably going to run into a lot of irrigation, because right along this line, like basically right where that line is where the irrigation lines are, the PVC lines that supply water to multiple zones in the garden. So that may slow us down running into that irrigation. Obviously, we're going to have to run irrigation to all of this. So it's kind of a logistical where you just have to think, okay, what step do I have to do before I do that step? And makes your mind kind of go, but we're working on it. Very excited to see this wall go up. Obviously, we will keep you updated as things progress and things happen. Yeah, but very exciting, very exciting, very exciting. It is warm and toasty, so I'm gonna probably get one of those little pop-up tents for Andrew, so that way he can be working in the shade, because it's going to be toasty the next couple of days. All right, my friends, as always, we appreciate you. We hope you found this fun, informative, inspirational. It's always something around here at Creekside. Y'all have an amazing day. We'll see you in the next video. Bye, friends.